Hi everyone, it's Lori McGuire doing a live video from beautiful Park City, Utah. The 6 key elements to make a great first impression. Okay, so number 1 is to be on time, and so important. My 30 years in real estate, I can honestly say this is the most important thing. You do not want to be late to appointments, and I tell my wonderful team this. If you're on time, you're late. So it's so much better for your nerves as well to just, be at the appointment, be in your car, sitting in the car for like 10 minutes. Then at least you could take a couple of deep breaths, know you're prepared. And one thing I shared in the other video that I didn't go through was I always have movie tickets in my purse. So if I am late, even though I've already texted them or called them and said, hey, I'm running 5 to 10 minutes late, I give them 2 movie tickets. And as soon as they open up the front door and I say, I'm so sorry I'm late, your time is very valuable, enjoy the movies on me. And they're always surprised because I'm only like 5 minutes late, but I still think that's important. So I recommend that everyone just has movie tickets or Starbucks cards or anything like that, because it's really, really key. Be yourself. That's an easy one. Be yourself, be yourself, be yourself. For so many years being in real estate and being trained by the very best trainers, and hearing their scripts and dialogues and saying you really needed to say it this way and that way. A lot of times I didn't really feel myself. Like I felt like I was being robotic, like, oh, I have to say it this way and everything. I think you still go with scripts and dialogues, but be yourself with it. Twist it around and be authentic. People always know if you're being your authentic self. If you go in there and you're just trying to sell them, they're always going to feel that. But if you have their best interests in mind and you're always you're dressing the way that you feel comfortable, and but dress appropriately for the occasion. If dress professionally. I always say if I'm going on an appointment where it's like an older couple or more of a high end, I might dress in a dress and maybe pearls or something like that. If it's a lower end appointment where I don't want to intimidate them, and I'm not saying anything about that, but they may be more casual, so I might dress not down for them. I'm not saying that because everyone's important, but I may not be in a suit or anything. So I want to build a rapport with them. So being yourself, feel comfortable in whatever it is. Embrace your authentic self. So I'm going to go on to number 3. Be positive. Number 3. Don't you always want to be around positive people? Very important. Well, that's what it's like for people interviewing, realtors interviewing in other lines of work as well. They want someone who's positive, obviously, about the number one thing that they own, and that's selling their home. So, the first thing when you come in is, sure, I go into homes that really need fixing up. And obviously, I'm not going to ignore that they need to be fixing up. I'm always going to be honest. But you could always spin things in a positive way. And your duty to your client or your potential client is to be the leader, is to guide them. So I'm positive. I say, hey, to get the highest amount, we want to do this, and this is to your advantage. So be the problem solver, come up with solutions, but don't be Pollyanna about it. Don't be, oh, everything's all great and everything. So that's just something I like to put up with, because I don't like to be around people who just say, oh, and everything's just perfect all the time, because it's not always perfect. Okay, number 4 is be confident. And oh my gosh, confidence is key. I'm sure experienced veterans, and there's a lot of you on here. I mean, Gary, Scott, great confident realtors, and confidence is key, and people notice that right from the beginning. You don't want to go in there and just tell them what they have to do. Like you want to suggest things and just say this, it's my opinion, and this is my experience. And to feel confident, though, especially if you're new in the business, it always helps to model after someone that you really respect in the very beginning in real estate. I wanted to pretend I was, my Aunt Kathy, who was the broker of the Coldwell Banker office I worked at 30 years ago. And she was my mentor, so I pretended I was her going into appointments when I was 21 years old. So sometimes you might have to pretend you're someone else when you don't feel confident, but always take the 6 deep breaths. I wrote a couple of things, listen to inspirational podcasts when you're on your way to appointments. There's also apps that you could download where you record your inspirational, your goals and everything, your affirmations in your own voice. That's really, really key. Knowledge is power. That's the best advice I can give you when you're going on an appointment. Know the inventory, know the competition, preview everything that property is going to be competing against, and those sellers will appreciate it, and you're going to feel so confident about pricing and everything. Number 5 is focus on the other person. So important. So many times we're trying to prove ourselves to other people like we're worthy. We're like, we're number one. You're going to want to work with us because we're rah, 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 rah. But we're not focusing on them. What is best for them? So what I like to do is I sit down with them and I first ask them what they're looking for. Really focus on them. So what I like to do, instead of going straight into my pitch like, hey, rah, rah, this is what we do for you, and da, 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 I sit down with them, and especially if they've had a bad experience with a previous realtor, I just say, I have a whole bunch of questions for you, if you don't mind me sitting down and asking you these questions. And then they really feel like, they've been heard, and then we address them, and, I reiterate what we discussed, and I say, okay, so if this and this happen, would this make you feel better about your experience? And then after that, and this is usually after I've seen the home, of course, then I go into my marketing pitch and what the home is worth and everything. But the bottom line is there is an acronym that I love to share with people, and you probably have heard this. Is called FORD, F-O-R-D, and it stands for F is family. You can never go wrong. And I do this all the time. Like I meet people just when I'm, at a restaurant, I'm by myself, and because I want to really get to know people. And you ask them for it is, so tell me about your family, that's the F. Oh, what occupation are you in? Do you love what you do? This is instant building rapport building skills. And then R, what do you love to do for fun? Recreation. This is instant. You could build rapport with anyone at any party. If you're going on a date, this is how you build rapport. Not that I'm an expert on that, but the Ford is always fall back on Ford. D is also, what are your dreams? Tell me about your dreams. When you sell your home, where you're planning on moving to, and what is your life going to look like when that happens? Make yourself memorable, and this is anytime you're making a good first impression. And it's just making yourself memorable by paying attention to the person more than yourself, and always repeating back to them what they've said. And I think that's important on any phone conversation, especially when you're meeting someone for the first time. You write down everything they say, and you ask them, is there anything else you can think of that you need? When you leave, make sure you write a thank you note right away. And for those of you who are watching, and I had appointments with you right before I left town, I am so sorry I did not get thank you notes out to you right before I left. It's been crazy busy, but I will when I get back to town. But I think going back to the old-fashioned way of doing business with writing out thank you notes is really key instead of just texting. I think that's really nice. I love getting thank you notes. And I think on regular thank you notes, like cute little thank you notes, not like I don't know, like the embossed company type. I like it when I get a cute thank you note from someone, because it just shows that it's not like, just thank you, from this title company or whatever. That's just me. So anyway, and just to finish off my six steps with being memorable, and it's just about caring and showing them how much you care. And hey, is there anything else besides selling your home that you need? Do you need us to help you? And it's about, full concierge service. That's where real estate is going nowadays. It's all about, it's either the people have the right to go, they're going with these discount brokers, okay, because you're seeing them all over the place, or they're going with full-on service because that's what they need. And I want to be a full-on concierge service because I'm certainly not a discount broker. I, pride myself on what I do, and I'm not saying that all of you discount brokers don't, but I just think there's a market for someone who is a great negotiator, is a great marketer, and there's a lot of you who are on my Facebook that are top realtors all over the world, and you know who you are.